Welcome to Fuller Expectations, the podcast where we dive into topics like aging with confidence, navigating identity shifts, building new healthy habits, rediscovering purpose, health and wellness routines in midlife, and yes, maybe even money, retirement, relationships, and letting go of things that no longer serve you. I'm your host, Carrie Fuller, and I am so excited that you're here with me today. My hope is that our episodes feel like a blend of personal growth, real conversation, and gentle encouragement. We'll keep things honest, thoughtful, and practical. If you have not already, please hit follow so that our podcast can appear in your podcast library. We drop episodes every week, and we don't want you to miss it. And if you thought of somebody who might benefit by what you've heard today, please share this episode with them. And now let's get into today's episode. I am so excited for our guest today on Fuller Expectations. We have with us Nicole Barone. Nicole is a peak performance strategist and certified health coach. She came from the world of big pharma. She is a senior executive turned entrepreneur, and she lives her life to help people live their best life. Nicole is a national speaker, and she is endorsed by the American Heart Association. If that does not give credibility, I don't know what does. Nicole has over 25 years of health and wellness experience, and she is here with us today to talk about the world of GLP-1s. You are not going to want to miss this episode, and you are going to want to share this with everyone you know. This is a hot topic today, and I promise you the information is something that is worth listening to. So let's get started. Welcome, Nicole. Thank you so much for joining us today. I'm so excited to have you as a guest on Fuller Expectations. We have such a great topic, and I love your background for this.
Thank you, Carrie. I'm so honored that you asked me to come on and speak today. I'm really delighted to share with others as well as just have a great conversation with you. I'm delighted to be here.
Thank you. We have such a hot topic, and I know that so many people are going to love the content today. So our topic is around GLP-1, which is everywhere right now. So in the last 2 years, drugs like Ozempic and Wegovy, and there's so many, all the pharmaceutical companies seem to have one now. They've gone from diabetes treatments to really a cultural phenomenon around like weight loss, and all the celebrities are doing it. There's so much social media hype, but there's so much information that people should know before they really go down that road. And it's kind of scary to me, Nicole, how you can actually purchase this without even a doctor in some cases, right? Yeah, it's really scary. So let's talk a little bit about what GLP-1 is, just in plain English for people.
Thanks, Carrie. Yeah, let's talk a little bit about GLP-1. Glycogen, like peptide 1, is a natural hormone produced in our gut, and it's there for a reason. It's important. It helps us signal to our brain when we're full. It helps with gastric emptying in our body. It regulates our insulin and blood sugar as well as it reduces our appetite. So it's just the communication signal, but it's super important.
And so there are benefits, but also risks when we think about the synthetic GLP-1 medications, which is what all the pharmaceutical companies are offering today. So Nicole, can you share some of the pros of synthetic GLP-1 drugs?
Yeah, absolutely. There are some pros with that. Certainly I think that people have an opportunity, especially for what we're seeing in the clinical evidence and the science behind it, is that they can have significant weight loss, right? So they can lose a lot of weight. Maybe they're carrying on some extra weight and their BMI is high. They also can improve their blood sugar, right? And so maybe their blood sugar is a little bit out of whack, and it will reduce the risk of cardiovascular events for high-risk patients. And it's really helpful, obviously, if someone has like something like a chronic disease or something that is brought on, like a type 2 diabetes, whether they are obese and they have other existing comorbidities or other health challenges. So these drugs can be positioned for the right patients. However, they really were originally designed more for diabetes, right? And then what they found out was that there was a significant amount of weight loss. And that started getting a lot of traction and a lot of buzz in the pharma world, and for everyone for that matter, because patients that were diabetic were actually feeling better and they were losing a lot of weight. And when you have significant weight loss like that, people start to notice.
And definitely that is huge, and a huge percentage of the population is obese today. So there are some cons and some risks that people need to know about. I think some of them I have heard, like it's out there, but it's not really out there, I feel like, as much as it should be. So let's talk about some of the common side effects and the risks associated with GLP-1s.
Absolutely. People have to understand that whenever you're using a synthetic ingredient or a pharmaceutical product, you are bound to have some type of side effects. Your body is a beautiful miracle that it is, and it's just got all these great things working for you. But when you're putting something foreign in, you can be exposed to side effects. Often people are very nauseous. They're vomiting. They could have diarrhea or constipation. They're very fatigued. I've talked to clients that like literally cannot get off the sofa. They just don't feel like moving. They have no energy, like their body's just sort of shutting down. And it's a complete loss of appetite for some people to the point where they're not eating properly. They don't even want to eat dinner. And they know, their doctor's probably telling them to have some protein and vegetables and things like that. So it completely paralyzes for some people that appetite, which can be a challenge as well. So the real concern and the serious concerns are, people are losing not only fat loss, but they're losing lean muscle mass loss, which is really important. And it brings up the word sarcopenia. As we age and get into the second half of our life, we really want to hold on to the lean muscle mass in our body. And we want to make sure that we're doing everything to take care of ourselves. People have had gallbladder issues. So there have been reports where people have had to have their gallbladder removed, potential pancreatitis risk. And then if you stop the medication, just like anything, it can also be rebounding where you're gaining that weight back. So the long-term effects are still being studied. People were jumping on this bandwagon because even at a lower dose, they were excited to drop some weight, but then there were some risks involved there. So, the practical aspect of it and the issue is for some is that sometimes it's covered by insurance and sometimes it's not. So it can be really expensive, up to $1,000 a month, often not covered by insurance because this is considered like an off-label or a different avenue, if you will, if you don't have type 2 diabetes and you're looking for weight loss. And it usually requires doing something for long term. So it can be challenging and it can really disconnect people from learning kind of what their habits are and what they need to do to take back their life. So it actually can hinder them from, making some good choices and making strides in their health journey.
Something that is interesting to me is that I've seen ads on Facebook and other social media platforms where you can buy a GLP-1 without having to go through a doctor. And I know there's some people, friends of mine, who have tried a GLP-1 that was prescribed by their doctor, and they have blood tests every so often because they want to check your organs, your functions and your numbers for your organs and things like that. And two people that I know specifically that were taken off of the GLP-1s that they were using because it had negative effects on how their organs were functioning. So
Yeah.
to me, it's like really scary when you look at the social media options for purchasing these without going through a doctor. That's something I think people maybe are not aware of, that it actually, if you're using them, you should definitely be under doctor's care, and the doctor that you have should be aware of it because of those potential issues.
Absolutely. I would say 100%, Carrie. You can't make and put these products in your body just by following something online. Unfortunately, social media and the news have made this word GLP-1 mainstream. And when you hear it so often and you know that other people are doing it, maybe some are having success and that's great for them. I obviously want people to have success. But when it becomes mainstream like that, you have to realize that you really can't buy products like this or never get a synthetic online. There's even question right now about people buying product on Amazon because there's so many different manufacturers out there and you cannot actually regulate what's happening out there, and certainly not a pharmaceutical product. That's really dangerous for your health. And you made a really good point. Like, I would definitely say anyone that wants to look at this as an avenue for themselves, have a conversation with your doctor, do your own research, be your own health detective, and think about the long-term ramifications and not just the short term, and getting that done, because I think that's the biggest thing. And that's where people have to understand these types of quick fixes, they don't work, right? And so you have to look at it more long term and see what's the best for you. Is it a risk? Is it a benefit? And that's how you have to decide.
Absolutely. And I think as we look at the industry of GLP-1s and weight loss, like we already know, I mean, people spend so much money on this, and there's like trillions of dollars to be made. So now what we're seeing is companies come out with products that they're saying are GLP-1s and all of that. This gets us into the conversation about natural GLP-1 support. I think that there are some important distinctions that need to be explained regarding synthetic GLP-1s versus natural GLP-1s. So let's talk a little bit about that. Let's talk about first synthetic GLP-1s. Can you share a little bit about that, and then we'll get into natural GLP-1s?
Absolutely. When you think about a synthetic drug, think about any type of drug or a prescription that maybe you picked up for someone or you yourself use. That is created in a lab, right? And right now, the GLP-1s that we know of are injectable, right? So you do have to inject yourself. They're created in a lab. They're provided by a pharmaceutical company. It is a GLP-1 agonist. It overrides your body's natural signaling, right? So it's going to override and work its magic, so to speak, to kind of take over your body in that regard. And it can work strong and fast, but there is artificial stimulation there. So it's a little bit different in the sense of that it's being synthetic. Now, if you are a person that is very sensitive, maybe you've taken an antibiotic because you got sick and the doctor asked you to take something and you've gotten sick from that, well, you certainly could very easily get very sick from this, because the side effects that we're hearing are more than just, nausea and vomiting or discomfort and things like that, where people are having some really crazy side effects. So just knowing that, you have to know yourself and your body as well. So yeah, synthetics are not recognized by the body. So it's, for some it can work, and for others it can be very difficult and wreak havoc on the body.
And we haven't seen as much on natural GL1 support lately, but I think it's something that people are going to be hearing more about. And I know that you have really good familiarity with natural GLP-1 support. So can we talk a little bit about how natural works differently than synthetic?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, anytime you have an option to go natural with anything in the body, that's the way to go, right? And that you can do things naturally to try that avenue. There is some really cutting edge science that's coming out, and actually studies will be published really soon. The newest product that I'm going to share with you today, and that is a natural GLP-1 to really support and encourage the body's GLP-1 production. So there are products out there, and they're not kind of mainstream, right? Because the pharma companies have kind of done the buzz, if you will, and other people on the branded label, like you said, the synthetic products such as the Ozempics and things like that. But the natural products work through gut signaling, nutrient sensing, and the metabolic pathways of the body. So they're actually working with your body to support regulation rather than replacement. So it's really exciting. There's a lot of natural ingredients found in our earth that could actually help and support us. So if you want to go that route, that would be a good route for people that are looking for natural solutions for sure.
Can we talk a little bit about the key benefits of the natural GLP-1 approaches?
Yeah, I love that you asked that question, because I think it's really important. We talked a lot about some of the side effects that people have had, and it's alarming when I hear them. But what I do find find with the natural GLP-1 approaches is that it works with your body's normal physiology. You really will have low or no side effects at all. It will support your appetite regulation. So it'll give you that signaling that, like, hey, I think I've had enough to eat. I feel kind of full. It'll also give you that blood sugar balance. And that's a benefit of a GLP-1 because we sometimes see insulin spikes due to perimenopause and menopause and the hormones being unbalanced. It's really important to do that. So a natural GLP-1 can do that for you, as well as the satiation. It's going to give you that early satiety or satiate you. So you're going to be eating a meal and then you're going to be like, I'm full. And that sometimes doesn't happen as we're aging. People feel, they've worked all day, they come home, they get super ravenous, and they kind of, I hear as a coach, I can't stop eating. It's almost like their reward for the day, whereas the natural GLP-1 can signal that. But it can also be used long term. So that's what's really nice about it too, because it's a natural approach. Sometimes you can go and utilize it, and then you can even take a break from it if you go on vacation and then come back to utilizing it. So it really fits any lifestyle based on wellness. And it's an avenue that I really feel strongly about. I love for people to go natural first and see that working for them. And we even are very excited to see some studies in comparison with the synthetics and how they really can almost be somewhat better.
So as we say natural, I'm thinking there might be people out there who might not understand what we mean by that. So can you talk a little bit about the ingredients and what makes that a natural product?
Yes, that's such a great question. Okay, so when we say natural, we're talking about plants. So we're talking about like mushroom. We're talking about saffron or Norwegian fish and peppermint and orange and things that are put together by master formulators to go ahead and create something that's going to work in your body, similar to a synthetic. And the science is changing rapidly, which is so cool. And the demand for it is even more so. I think now more than ever, individuals are looking for what's the natural, how do I treat this at the root cause? How can I do this naturally? So that's where we're headed in the future as we look at health and wellness, which is so exciting. So when I use the word natural, I'm going to tell you that you can pretty much read all of the ingredients and or know what they are. They might have like a fancy mushroom name to it and you're like, well, I don't know what that means, but when you look it up, it's a mushroom, but it's just one that we don't eat regularly. When we look at synthetic, those are molecules and different things that are not natural. So they are created in a lab to go in and change the receptors and the communication in the body. So they are not something that your body recognizes. When it gets in the body, it's recognized as a foreign ingredient, and it's sort of your body signaling is saying, hey, what's going on? So that's really the simplicity of kind of the synthetic versus the natural. When we say natural, it's something that you can read, you can identify the words, and it's going to be very gentle on the body as well as effective.
And so when we say synthetic, for people out there who might not know, synthetic is basically lab made. It's made by people in a
Yeah.
lab. Natural is of the earth. Nicole, can we talk a little bit about the difference between the injectable GLP-1? I know that there is an oral GLP-1 out there, prescription oral GLP-1, but why do people need to inject those versus, I know the natural GLP-1 drops that people can take under their tongue. So can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, that's a really great question, Carrie. So the GLP-1s came out and they are all injectable. They need to be injected so that they get absorbed in the body. And so that's how the delivery works for patients. And there will be probably some pill forms of the synthetic coming out, the GLP-1. It would be something where you would have to be taking it every day. We don't know the clinical studies so much so if it's going to be absorbed the same way, but we would imagine they would also have the same side effects that of the injection. What's really cool about the natural option that I get excited about and I love sharing with people is that it's an oral that you just actually use a dropper and place it under your tongue. It gets absorbed. You can use it once a day and it'll help you with that appetite and the food cravings or what we call food noise. So that's a really great option as well too. But the delivery system that it has brings it right into your cell in that oral form, whereas they don't have that in the synthetic. So the delivery is called cellular absorption technology. And the delivery of one particular product I'm talking about is really working naturally to get it right into the cell. So it bypasses that sort of gut or the tract and it goes right into the cell. So it binds to the GLP-1 receptor like the synthetic one. However, it's all natural. So that's really cool because it's cutting edge. We have seen natural GLP products out there. They've been around for a little while. However, they're not absorbed as to this particular one I'm sharing that is brand new and very exciting because it is being absorbed. So it's getting better and better out there. Mhm.
Yeah. And so I know that there are some people, as we said before, not everybody is a candidate for a synthetic GLP-1 because of health issues, side effects, and other issues with their organs and things like that. Who would be the ideal candidate for the natural GLP-1 product?
Absolutely, yeah. For natural GLP-1 product, one product I'm thinking of in particular, GLP-3, it would be great for any child over 12. And we're seeing obesity on a rise, especially within younger children. And so they would be fine for it. Really, anyone that would want to benefit from a little bit of weight loss, whether it's 5, 10, 20 pounds, even over 50, 100, whatever their weight loss that they're wanting to actually achieve, it can be used safely and it can be used long term. And so they can be very proactive about their health and their metabolic health as well too. So that's what we're seeing in the natural one. The GLP-1s, the synthetics that are manufactured by big pharma and the pharmaceutical companies, there's a lot of discussion about how long they should be taken and really the monitoring of the patient because they're seeing a lot of other side effects with it. With the natural, you're not seeing those side effects, which is really great as well.
For people listening who might want more information, I'll definitely put a link in the show notes for this episode so people can find more information there as well. So I think this is really great information, Nicole. And one more question that I have for you is the natural GLP-1 product, is that something that physicians have access to? I know physicians always use their Bible, the prescriber's digital reference when they're prescribing pharmaceutical and nutraceutical products. Is this something that a doctor would have access to if somebody were to ask their doctor about it?
Absolutely. So right now, yeah, the prescriber's digital reference or the PDR.net is a great resource for all physicians and nurse practitioners. Right now, the GLP, the natural product I was speaking about that I so highly regard, GLP-3, it is actually the information is being gathered to be submitted into the PDR.net, which will be great. But we want to get this in the hands of physicians as an alternative. It's really, really important. I know as people age and they get more into the midlife, perimenopause and menopause and everything that's going on, you're getting some extra inches around your waist and it's really holding on and wreaking havoc that people are really looking for solutions to not only manage their weight to feel better, but also work with the spikes in the sugar as well that we're seeing with hormonal imbalances. And it's really, really important for people to do that. So to sustain a very proactive life, that's why I promote the all natural version as a person to go to first. And I'm super excited to have such a very clean product and something exciting for people to take a look at as well. So I love that option. But yeah, we're really excited for the healthcare community to have different options out there.
That's great. So as we wind things up today, I would love to sort of recap who out there should consider which path. So as we talk about the synthetic versus the natural, let's just recap sort of the synthetic might be appropriate for which type of person versus the natural.
Absolutely. I think that's a really good point. So, you're looking for solutions. Obviously, having a conversation with your doctor is super important. But if you're maybe more on the higher risk side or having type 2 diabetes, you have severe obesity, you're at high cardiovascular risk, and your doctor's concerned, they probably have brought this up to you or maybe have discussed it with you as well. That's where a synthetic could be an option for you. But also to just piggyback like on what we were saying earlier about the natural, there could be an option with the natural if you're very sensitive to medication, if you have difficulty, with injection, if you have difficulty with other things going on. That's where a physician really comes in to play here. On the natural side, ensuring, what would be appropriate for a natural GLP-1 support would be for someone that I had just mentioned, like midlife weight gain, that perimenopause, menopause weight gain, that insulin resistance, people wanting to be, very proactive and not wanting to have side effects or bothering with an injection and have more fluidity and freedom in their life. That would be a perfect person for that.
Awesome. And I think we can also attach some fact sheets to this episode for people to just reference when they're considering what might be right for them. But Nicole, in parting, do you have any wisdom or information you'd like to share with those listening who might be confused about their options? What do you recommend they do for their first step?
Yeah, I would just want people to get educated. Reach out to myself, really reach out to your doctor. Just definitely take a look at materials. Like you said, you're going to add some information and fact sheets on this podcast, which is so fantastic. But the biggest thing I would say is we're kind of inundated with a lot of social media noise about all of this. And I just want you to have really informed decisions. So, really be your own health detective. But I'm happy to partner with you and have a look. You can certainly reach out to me to take a look and see if this is right for you or what would be right for you. Because sometimes you just need a health advocate to support you along the way. And if a family member isn't there for you or something like that, we can do that. And if you're concerned about, oh my gosh, I don't want side effects, but I want results, a natural solution is a great way. I see that the way we're moving into the future, natural is the way to go first, and then maybe the synthetic secondary. And that's kind of always how I felt. That's kind of why I do what I do and had been coaching so many people for all these years now to help them.
That's fabulous. And of course, I just want to share that we are not doctors. We're not healthcare professionals who are making claims to anything here. We're just people who are sharing information that we have learned and putting it out there for everyone else to consider for their own well-being. So thank you so much, Nicole.
Thank you, Carrie. It was an honor to be here. I'm super delighted to talk to and share with your audience a little bit just to enlighten them about some options out there. So thank you so much for having me on.
Thank you. And just a reminder to everyone listening, I am putting some information in the show notes, including the fact sheet about the natural GLP-1, which might be an option for you if you want to try that and see if that works for you. If you're having issues with synthetic GLP-1s, or if you just prefer to go the natural way. Of course, we welcome or invite you to share this information with your physician or others in your life that you think might want the resource. We're happy to share that. And of course, certainly feel free to comment, leave us a review, and thanks so much for listening today.
Thanks for listening today. If this episode sparked something in you, please share it with a friend, leave a comment or a review, and reach out and let me know what resonated. Remember, no matter what age or stage of life you're in, you can pivot. And always remember, the second half of life is not a winding down. It's a waking up. Please follow or subscribe. We'd love to have you as part of our podcast family. Let's keep showing up and being the best version of ourselves. Until next time, take care.